Good morning, world history people. So we finished up our lecture Monday, I think, looking at the Mycenaean and briefly kind of addressing Homer and the Iliad. And that's what we're going to look at today and for your assignment to read a little bit about Homer. So the collapse of the Mycenaean states began to make war on each other. And again, that's always going to be part of the issue with Greece, with those city states, because they're not one solid civilization. They're a whole bunch of little civilizations. And so it is easy that they start to make war on each other. Major earthquakes are going to destroy the villages. New invaders are going to move into Greece from the north. And so this brings about the end of the Mycenaean around 1100 BCE. And then that takes us into what we call the Dark Age. Historians like to use the Dark Age to refer to time periods when civilizations are under stress. They're either under stress from war, under stress from disease or plague, or under stress because of famine or some kind of natural disaster. And the Dark Ages and many different time periods also indicate that there's not a lot of recorded history going on because people are being stressed by these other events in their life that make it difficult to record. So that's what this time period is known as. We've kind of changed our thinking about the Dark Ages in different times of history, and we'll look at that on the next slide. Few records are going to exist. Population and food production rapidly decline. And that, again, will be one of the issues of this time period known as the Dark Age. Around 850 BCE, for some reason, farming begins again. And when we start farming again, we always know that our population is going to increase, our civilization is going to get stronger, and this becomes our basis for our new Greek civilization. We will have developments in this Dark Age. And again, some of those developments will be very important and really significant enough to warrant rethinking, was this really a Dark Age? Iron is going to replace bronze, and we know that iron is much, much stronger and a much more valuable metal, especially when we use it in farming and weaponry. The Greeks are going to adopt the Phoenician alphabet, again, which will be really important in developing a written language. And then we're going to revive trade again. Trade is going to start moving all throughout the Mediterranean, the Aegean Sea, and around those Greek city-states. But one of the most important things that will happen towards the end of this Dark Age will be the works of Homer in the Iliad and the Odyssey. And one of the things that your reading is going to ask you to think about, and that I'm going to ask you to think about, is this was written around 750 BCE. And for some reason, the state of Indiana in the year 2020 still expects students to read either the Iliad or the Odyssey in high school. And that says a lot, again, about this lasting impact of Greek culture. You really need to think about that as a student when you're called to read upon these ancient texts. Like, why am I reading something from 750 BCE? Surely there's been greater things written since then. And the answer, sadly, probably is no. It is, again, some of the classic writing of which almost all stories are based on. So the Iliad takes place after the Trojan War. Also, when I was in high school, taking world regions, that's what we called it, my teacher and we did not give much credibility to this idea of this story, that it was just a made-up story. We now know that there has been, in the last 20 years, I think, recent excavations, sorry, I'm pausing for the bell, that really might change the way that we view this story, that there really was a siege and there really was this place called Troy where this battle happened. So the Trojan War is called by the Trojan prince Paris, who kidnaps Helen of Sparta. And then the Greeks are going to lay siege to Troy for 10 years. They're going to take the city of Troy with this Trojan horse. And the Trojan horse story is they bring in at this big giant horse as a gift, and inside are all the warriors. And then at night, when the people of Troy go to sleep, the Greeks pop out, take it over. Hence, there is a really old saying, which I don't know that any young people know. It's called beware of gifts, or I'm sorry, beware of Greeks bearing gifts. That goes to this story of Troy. The Odyssey, which is what I think you guys read in Mrs. Flass class, is about the journey home. So the Iliad is about the war. The Odyssey is this trip home. And it's this story of all these series of adventures and things that come in front of Odysseus as he is trying to make his way home. Homer's epic poems give the Greeks an ideal past and a set of values. And this, again, is why you read these stories. The values were used to educate Greek male for generations, and we can add students in high school for generations. I had to read both of these. Fathers had sons memorize all of Homer to learn how to act well and be virtuous men. And so we get these Homeric values of courage and honor. And that, again, will be one of those really strong bases of the Greek culture and Greek life, that this hero was going to struggle. And again, that's what the Odyssey is about. It's Odysseus' struggle. He's met with Medusa and he's met with a Cyclops and all these things that are put in front of him that would have been easy for him to give up or easy for him to leave his comrades behind. But this struggle is the value. And through fighting, protecting family and friends, he preserves his honor and that he earns this honorable reputation. And so again, as always, when we're talking in this chapter about Greece, we'll be talking about this legacy that the Greeks give us. And part of that legacy is culture and literature, of which you can't get any more long-lasting than the fact that in high school, freshmen still read something written in these ancient times. So that ends today for our notes. You do have a reading on Homer, and to answer those questions on Homer, please let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday. Bye.